Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the god of destruction, Universe 11, Part 2. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. I agree, accept, and teach those assholes a lesson. I'll be helping, and won't allow you to lose. She trusts you enough to put herself in danger, so to speak, Kurama said. As while he knew Margarita was immensely strong, it was more the danger of being taken away than physical harm. Naruto groaned a bit, as he turned back to the two gods of destruction. Fine. But I have 3 minutes to prepare, Naruto said, as Rumsey waved him off. Fine, still all you like brat, Rumsey said before her throat was cleared, making them turn to see the Grand Priest, and Zeno standing nearby. What is this about a match? The Grand Priest asked in his calm tone, sending some shivers down all their spines. Our gods of destruction decided it was worth it to wager us to fight Naruto here, a woman said, as Naruto watched a tall angel walk forward. She was taller than Margarita, her long white hair done in a high ponytail, as she wore a green angel outfit. Her chest was a bit bigger than Margarita's, at least being a G-cup with a rather plump rear, although not as plump as his angel's. Vados. It was Russia's idea. Champa quickly said, as Vados, the tall angel, kept her attention on the Grand Priest. Yes, Rumsey brought it up, and pulled Champa along into it. He decided wagering on us was the only way to get Naruto to agree to a 2-on-1 fight, a smaller angel said, as she walked forward besides Vados. She was much shorter than Vados, with her hair down in a single braid that was pulled around to drape over her shoulder, her purple angel outfit lacking the puffy shoulders like Margarita and Vados. She also had a much more petite figure, her chest being a medium A-cup at best with a small bubbly rear. Oh really cuss, is this true, Rumsey? The Grand Priest asked, as Russia was frozen for a second before nodding. I thought it would be a good experience for him, and teach him some humility. Russia tried to justify it to the eerily calm Grand Priest, who did not seem happy. Naruto didn't want to, but I urged him to accept, as I believe he can win, Margarita said, as the Grand Priest looked his way, although Naruto didn't feel nearly as in danger as he did seconds ago. Let it happen, Zeno said, surprising everyone around him, as the king of all looked towards the gods of destruction. So long as it is done in the arena. It will be a nice show, Zeno said, as the Grand Priest nodded. Fine, everyone. Come to the arena. It has been decided to have a match between Naruto and both Champa and Rumsey. Angels on the line will come with me, the Grand Priest said, as Naruto frowned. Wait, I have 3 minutes to prepare before that. Can Margarita stay by me for a bit so I can consult her? Naruto asked, as the Grand Priest looked at Zeno, who in turn nodded. Fine, she will stay with you on your platform, but once the 3 minutes are up she will be transported over to me, and you will have to drop down to the arena, the Grand Priest explained, as he nodded, and they were teleported away. Naruto frowned, as he stared down at the large flat rectangular arena below the floating platform he now stood on with Kai and Margarita. He noticed various other gods, Kai, and angels on matching platforms, while Rumsey and Champa were down on the arena below. Do not worry, they wouldn't be able to hear us here. We may talk freely, Margarita said, getting his attention, as he nodded. Good. So any advice on how to deal with them? Naruto asked, as he turned his back on the arena and looked towards his Kai, an angel. I am kind of at a disadvantage with 2-on-1, and am having a lot more experience than me, he added, while Margarita nodded. Rumsey I believe would be the one to look out for, as he has a powerful roar that can render you frozen if you hear it, allowing him to charge at you and attack you. Among him and Champa he is the stronger of the two, while Champa is rather average, being among middle to low tier among the other gods, Margarita explained, as he frowned, as both of them were much more experienced than he was by far. Pierce your eardrums fully if he is about to roar, I can heal them fast enough, as you can't be affected if you are deaf, Kurama advised, as Naruto nodded, since Kurama did offer a crazy strong healing factor, which had also grown when Naruto became the god of destruction. Plus neither Champa nor Rumsey should know of chakra, right? Kai asked before Margarita nodded, since chakra was apparently limited to only his world. Yes, which is why I suggest using it to your advantage. Your shinobi skills will be extremely important in determining the outcome. Use stealth, surprise, and whatever else you can to get the upper hand. If this is dragged on it will be dangerous for you, so try and finish fast, and without taking too many hits, she said before the Grand Priest, who was on his own floating platform, in front of, and to the side of Zeno, rose up. The 3 minutes are nearly up, please finish up so I can explain the rules, the Grand Priest announced, as Margarita surprised him by grabbing his hands, and giving them a soft squeeze, as if to reassure him. Fight with your ally inside, as I know you can win. Good luck, Naruto, she said, smiling at him before kissing him on the cheek, which made him blush darkly before he nodded shakily. I'll do everything I can to win. I won't lose you, Margarita, I'd never let them get their hands on you, he said before she was teleported away, making him clench his fists. Wish me luck, Kai, Naruto said, as his Supreme Kai nodded. Good luck, Naruto, Kai said with a smile before Naruto leapt off the platform, landing in front of Champa and Rumsey. Good. Now let me explain the rules, the Grand Priest said, as his platform lowered back down a bit. The rules are quite simple. No flying, and no killing. There is no time limit, and the winner is either decided when the ring out occurs or they are unable to get back up, the Grand Priest explained, as he looked down at them. Do all parties understand? He asked, as they all nodded. Yes, Grand Priest. They said in unison, making the Grand Priest smile before his platform moved to the side, and he motioned to Zeno, who sat in between his two attendants. On your mark, Zeno-sama, he said, as Zeno looked down at them before raising his hand. Go, he said, as Naruto quickly slammed his hands together. Fire style. Hiding in ash and dust. Naruto quickly thought before he blew out a large blanket of ash that spread out towards the two gods, causing them to jump back, as they were quickly burned by the mix of fire. And ash before a large cloud was staying inside the center of the ring with Champa and Rumsey on either side of it. Quick to hide. Seems you are a coward, as well as a brat. Rumsey yelled before Naruto dashed out of the smoke cloud at him. They said I was being a coward. Naruto yelled, as he slammed his hands together again, having done the hand seals inside the cloud before he took a deep breath, and held his thumb and index finger in a circle up to his mouth. Water style. Water trumpet. He thought before he fired a high-pressure blast of water at Rumsey. Champa frowned, as he heard combat on the other side of the cloud, and was about to check it out until he smirked, as Naruto dashed out of the smoke cloud. Oh, so is Rumsey too much for you, so you're running to me? Big mistake. Champa yelled, as he dashed towards Naruto. We'll see, Naruto said with a smirk, as he ducked under Champa's strike. Compared to Margarita and the others, Champa is slow. I should be able to do this, as Naruto thought, as he dashed closer to Champa, summoning a Rasengan in his hand to strike. I won't let you hit me with that. Champa yelled, as he leapt back only to whiten his eyes, as Naruto swung his arm at him, and the ball in his hand flew towards him, while attached to a clawed arm made out of red bubbling energy. And I won't let you get away. Naruto yelled, as the Rasengan crashed into Champa's stomach. Rasengan. Naruto yelled, as he watched Champa get sent spinning away from the blast of the Rasengan. The watchers of the fight were a bit confused, as they watched the fight. Am I seeing this right, Citter? A yellow mouse asked, as he looked over to a red-bearded human-looking god who nodded from another platform. Yes, you are correct. There are two of those kids, one fighting Russia, as another is fighting Champa, Citter said, as he was a bit surprised as someone possessing a clone technique that was not only this solid, but didn't divide one's power among the clones created. This must be one of Naruto's abilities, right, Margarita? The Grand Priest asked, as he and the other angels put up for grabs were watching. Yes, one of many. The people on Naruto's planet can mold the elements, and do things such as creating solid clones. The elements were tricky, but with some trips back to his home to borrow some scrolls, he's been able to use multiple elements, she explained, as Vados hummed in thought before they all turned back to the fight. Champa winced, as he landed, his stomach burning from the spinning orb that had crashed into him. It felt like he had been shredded, and had a powerful blow blast through him. What the hell was that? That really hurt. Champa complained before he felt Rumsey's energy spike up. Enough. Rumsey yelled, as he took in a deep breath, which caused Champa to whiten his eyes before quickly covering his ears, before he let out a loud piercing roar. Naruto though was prepared, as he braced himself, and jammed his fingers into his ears, wincing a bit, as his eardrums ruptured before being healed, once the roar was over. Though it was worth it, as he was able to leap over Russia, as he charged at him, aiming his hand at the back of Russia's head, and blasting a strong Kai blast at it, causing him to fall down, and create a bit of a trench due to the power of the blast. The other Naruto took advantage of Champa being momentarily stunned by kicking him up into the air. Nah. Naruto yelled, as he launched Champa into the air with a strong kick upwards before leaping after him. Roo. He continued, as he kicked him higher up, and following after using wind manipulation to shoot him up too. He yelled, adding another kick to send the fat purple cat higher into the air until he slowed down. Uzumaki combo. Naruto finished off, as he somersaulted above Champa before slamming a heel drop kick into the god's face, sending him rocketing back down, causing the ground of the arena to shatter some due to the force, as Naruto landed safely back down. He knew he could have used the full force combo, but he wanted to save the Adama Rasengan for a finisher, and keep it hidden against Champa. Naruto was thankful that the pillar of smoke only blocked Rumsey and Champa's vision of one another, so not only could he fight them without them figuring out his clone technique, but it also didn't block Zeno's view of the fight. I'm sick and tired of this. You are going down, you brat. Champa yelled, as he pulled himself out of the crater he had formed before running at Naruto, sending a barrage of blasts that were difficult to predict due to how some were curving, and some fired straight forward. He was able to bring his arms up to block, just as Champa started to launch a barrage of punches at him. Naruto focused on blocking and dodging, as Champa pushed on, roaring with each strike before he surprised him by grabbing his arms. Have fun in hell. Champa yelled, as Naruto felt him charge destroy energy before the god blasted it directly at Naruto. The rest of the crowd, not knowing which one was the clone, all watched in shock, as Champa had broken one of the rules of the fight, while also worried about the fate of him and his universe, as they looked at Zeno to see he was not pleased. "Take that. That'll teach you to look down on me, brat," Champa yelled before he froze, as he realized what he did. "And this will teach you to think lowly of me," Naruto yelled, as he burst out from underground, right below Champa with his hands at his sides, and palms facing up towards Champa. "Enjoy your blackout," Naruto said in a low tone, as two Rasengan formed in his hand, only for them to suddenly grow nearly triple their normal size. "Adama Rasengan," Naruto yelled, as he slammed the two Rasengan into Champa, pushing them hard against him, as they drilled into him before they powerfully exploded, and sent Champa rocketing, and spinning backwards, out of the ring, and through 4 of the floating pillars. Champa has been defeated by knockout, and ring out. Only Naruto and Rumsey remain, the Grand Priest announced, making Rumsey white in his eyes a bit before he looked over to see another Naruto walking towards him. "You can clone yourself?" Rumsey asked before he buried his face in the palm of his hand with a sigh. "Of course you can. Why else wouldn't Champa be over here helping me?" Rumsey said, as he looked between the two Naruto with a frown. "You two aren't even the real ones, are you?" he asked, as they shook his heads before they pointed to the ash cloud, and dispelled it in a puff of smoke. "You know, clones that are super durable instead of ones that dispel after one hit are incredibly helpful with keeping your attention, so I could get 2 things ready," Naruto said before the cloud of ash burst away to reveal a new-looking Naruto. Everyone looked in curiosity as, due to the chakra in the cloud, they hadn't been able to sense him, but once it was gone they were able to feel him again, and just how much his power had spiked. "Is this another power of his?" Vados asked this time, as Margarita nodded. "It's a newer power of his, so it isn't stable, but he can use it enough to defeat Rumsey, I believe," Margarita said, as everyone was interested in Naruto's new look. Naruto was now fully glowing in a soft orange color, with the markings of his collar and banner now replaced with black magatama. His whiskers were now much thicker, and his pupils were slits like a fox or cat. His hair had even spiked up even more, making it look like he had 2 horns. The main interest of the gods, besides the new glowing form of Naruto's, was the black solid yet liquid-looking orb floating in Naruto's hand. "I figured out a while ago that Kai users can't sense chakra given they don't have it. This, paired with my shinobi training, allowed me to hide a bit and surprise you both. Now since I got the time to get into this form, I'll be able to finish it," Naruto said, as he ran towards Rumsey, seemingly disappearing, and reappearing in front of him instantly in a burst of speed that surprised many of the gods present, as they weren't expecting it from a god who had only been one for a singular Earth year. "This is our only Bijudama. Forming another would take too long, so hit him hard with it," Kurama roared, as Naruto nodded, and pointed it towards Russia before slamming it into him, the last remaining god not having time to react, due to how fast he had appeared in front of him. "Bijudama," Naruto yelled, as the orb exploded, turning into a beam that blasted Rumsey back before growing in size, and continuing until Rumsey was slammed into the barrier around the arena. Once it was clear he won, he cut off the Bijudama, panting a bit, as he faded out of his new cloak mode, due to how tiring it was to be in, and how much energy a Bijudama took to form, as he still hadn't gotten it down. Russia is eliminated by knockout, and ring out, as well. "The winner of the match is Naruto," the Grand Priest said, as the other gods, and Zeno's platforms lowered. Margarita smiled, as she walked to his side, and he could tell she was happy he had won. The Grand Priest's smile lessened, as he snapped his fingers, summoning a passed-out Champa, and Rumsey back to the arena before looking to the other 2 angels. "Vados, Kus, please heal your now former gods, so Zeno-sama may have a word with them," the Grand Priest said, his tone giving Naruto a shiver before the 2 angels complied, and healed their gods, awakening them to see the Grand Priest look down at them, only for Zeno to walk towards them. "I'm not happy about you two. Not only do you force Naruto into fighting you two, but you bet both your angels, and make Naruto bet his, as well," Zeno said, his usual smile gone for a straight face that made him not look the least bit happy. "For that, and losing, I am making it where you must wait 500 Earth years, given Naruto is an Earthling, before you both gain a new one. Both Vados and Kus will go to Naruto since you won. If you wish to get around, and if we contact you, it will be through your Supreme Kai," Zeno said, making Champa and Rumsey flinch a bit before the King of All's attention was turned to solely Champa. "You also broke a rule. You used destruction energy with the intent of killing Naruto. For that, you will be erased," Zeno said coldly, as his hand glowed white before Naruto quickly stepped forward, just as Zeno raised his hand. "Wait, Zen-chan," Naruto said, getting Zeno to stop at his name being called, and all the gods of destruction to freeze at what Naruto just called him. "How about instead of erasing him we punish him differently," Naruto said quickly, making Zeno tilt his head a bit at. "What do you have in mind?" Zeno asked, smiling, as Naruto grew a big and mischievous grin before crouching down to him and whispering something in his ear that made Zeno laugh, once again surprising everyone around. "I like that," Zeno said with a nod. Okay, instead of being erased you will be forced on a diet for 500 years, he said, making Champa drop his jaw. At any food you touch will be turned into salads and fruit. If you go over a certain amount of calories in a certain span without moving around, it will become glasses of water, Zeno said before a loud laugh was heard until it was suddenly stopped, which made Naruto chuckle a bit at. Naruto, Vados, Kus, and Margarita, please come with me. Everyone else returns to the main hall and waits for the Grand Priest to call you back. Dumpsy and Champa may leave though, Zeno said, as he teleported the two losing gods away, before he teleported away with those he listed along with the Grand Priest and his attendants. Naruto followed Zeno, as they arrived in his room, which happened to be the same one he had first been taken to by Margarita. He continued to follow before Zeno sat down on his throne, and they all stopped with Margarita on one side, and Vados and Kus on the other, with the Grand Priest continuing until he was in front of them. Look, the first thing I want to say is sorry for the trouble. I didn't mean to start anything, Naruto said with a bit of a frown before Zeno waved him off. You didn't start anything. The Grand Priest showed me everything, from Russia coming up to you being not forbidding Margarita, to even Russia threatening to attack planets in your universe, Zeno explained, as the Grand Priest nodded. Nothing happens in Zeno's palace without Zeno and myself not knowing of it. I will say you handled the confrontation, as well as the fight, rather well, the Grand Priest said with a smile. I agree, you were really cool, Naruto. Especially when you became all orange and started to glow. Zeno said with a smile, making Naruto embarrassingly scratch the back of his head. Thanks, but what will happen to Vados and Kus? Are they really going to be my angels alongside Margarita? He asked, as he felt a bit bad about treating them like prizes without taking their wants into consideration. Oh, do not worry, we do not mind being your angels. You seem quite interesting, Vados said with a smile. If Rumsey was so careless to wager us, then we must not be needed by either of them. We'll happily tag along with you, Kus said with a bit of a childish pout, before it turned to a smile, as well Zeno nodded. If their gods were willing to put them up for a wager so easily without contemplating it like you did, then they don't need them. I'd rather they go to you who will benefit from their training most, the Grand Priest said, as Zeno hopped down from his throne and walked towards them. I want you to travel around and learn more things. You are really interesting, and I want to see you get stronger. I mentioned it to Hell, so Universe 2 is where you will be going first, Zeno said before he snapped his fingers. Take this, Zeno said, as a purple and blue button appeared for Naruto to catch. That will bring you to me if you press the blue button, and bring me to you if you press the purple. Use it if any other god has trouble with you entering their universe, since I won't allow behavior like that again, Zeno explained, as Naruto shivered a bit at his tone, despite it not being directed at him, before he looked at both sides of the circular disc. Thanks, Sen-chan, I'll be sure to keep you informed, and hey, maybe if I find something you might like I'll bring it back to you, like a souvenir, Naruto said, making Zeno look at him interested. Oh, that sounds cool. I look forward to it, Zeno said with a smile, and a nod before the Grand Priest smiled at them. On to actual business, your destruction energy output is at good levels, and your mortal level is stable. I expect it to change more when you get more into your role as God of Destruction. Do keep up the good work, and work well to get along with your two new angels, the Grand Priest said, as Naruto nodded and bowed, in action his angels followed before he walked out once Zeno nodded to show it was okay. As he walked out he rubbed the back of his neck with a bit of a frown. Well, he said, as he looked at Vados and Kus, I hope to get along with the both of you, he added, making the two of them smile. As do we. You seem most different than our former gods in both looks and personality, Kus said before they noticed another god, an angel, heading their way. Have to say that fight was interesting. I do like how you were able to convince Zeno-sama to change my brother's punishment into a diet. A skinnier looking version of Champa, dressed in blue instead of red, said, as a male angel followed beside him. I'm Beerus, God of Destruction for Universe 7, and brother of Champa. This is Whis, my angel, Beerus said, as Whis nodded at them before turning to Vados. I do say it is most uncommon for multiple angels to look after a single God of Destruction. Are you okay with this outcome? Whis asked, as Vados smiled and nodded. Yes, I quit. You saw Naruto out there, he is most interesting having a secondary power to him other than Kai. Plus there are other reasons why he has caught my interest, she said, sending a glance towards Margarita, who was smiling beside Naruto. Nice to meet you both. It seems you aren't too angry about me beating your brother, Naruto said before Beerus waved it off. Why would I be? He brought it upon himself, same, as Rumsey, Beerus said with a smirk before he looked Naruto over. Personally, if you were able to surprise Belmont enough to kill him, you deserve your title, and your defeat of Russia and Champa like that proves it. If you ever want to fight or anything, have one of your angels get in contact with Whis, as your chakra interests me a lot, plus I'm curious about what your home is like, Beerus said, as Naruto nodded with a smile. Sure, I'll keep that in mind, as Zeno did tell me to travel around and visit some universes. He's making me do it because he wants to see me get stronger, which I don't mind. Naruto said, making Beerus nod, as if Zeno wanted it then he wasn't one to argue, and he didn't mind this new god getting stronger. If he could surprise Champa and Rumsey at his current level, then his growth would make things more interesting for sure. Well, if you ever want to look through my universe, I know a few places with some good food, and in turn maybe you could show me some of your universe's food, Beerus suggested. As Naruto was curious of other planets' food since while on the Kai's planet, they were able to replicate his home's food, although Margarita banned him from ramen only. That actually sounds interesting, as I have been interested in food from other planets. I'll contact you when I have some time, Naruto said before Whis' staff chimed, signaling they were next to be called in. Well, until then, Beerus said with a nod before they walked off. But you two haven't left yet, Hell said, as Naruto turned to see her walking towards him with a smile. Zeno-sama told me how he wanted you to travel around to grow stronger, and suggested my universe as your first stop. Personally, I am thrilled to show you the beauty of my universe, Hell said with a smile, as she crossed her arms under her chest, as Naruto smiled. Well, I look forward to being shown around. I hope it isn't much of a problem, he said, making her laugh, and waved it off before cupping his cheek again. Nonsense, showing beauty to others is always a wondrous thing. I will have Sawa contact one of your angels to know where to arrive at when I decide it is the best time, as I must arrange a good show for you, Hell said, as Naruto nodded with a blush before she let go of his cheek. And he watched her and her angel walk off, a subtle sway to her hips before Kai walked over to them and teleported them away, but not before she looked over her shoulder and waved to him. We should be off as well, you still have training to do today, Margarita spoke up, bringing him out of the blush Hells brought upon him, as Kai walked back to them once Margarita waved him over. How has his training been so far? Vados asked, curious as to how he's been doing to get him to a level to get one over on two gods of destruction. She knew a lot of it had relied on his chakra and shinobi skills, something which she'd ask about later, but those alone wouldn't account for his strength and speed during that fight. He has been training essentially non-stop every day since he became the god of destruction. We have a 6-year time frame for the most part before he wishes to return to his home planet, and I wish for him to be much stronger by then. His clones and other teachers helped a lot, Margarita explained, as Kuss smiled and clapped her hands excitedly. Sounds like he's diligent, that's very good. I look forward to training him with Vados as well, Kuss said, as Naruto remembered both Vados and Kuss were the strongest beings in their universes, so he just got himself 2 more strong teachers. Yes, training will be most interesting. Though Kuss and I will need to gauge his strength first to see how far he needs to go, Vados said, as Margarita nodded, Naruto pulling a bit as he remembered Margarita's gauging and how sore he was from it. Well, let us be off, Kai said, as everyone put a hand on his back and he transported them back home. Kai planet. Naruto felt nice to be back, still exhausted from his fight with Champa and Rumsey, but he knew he couldn't rest. Good to see you've returned, and with 2 more than you left with, it seems, Toppo said with a raised eyebrow, as Naruto chuckled and started to explain things to him and the Pride Troopers present. I did not know meetings among the gods of destruction were like that, Toppo said, as he crossed his arms. Normally they are not, but there are occasions like these, as Zeno-sama bans all fighting between gods, except for fights he sets up, or if they are training spars without malicious intent, Vados explained, as for the most part, if gods had beef with each other, they just adamantly ignored each other and were rude. Not even after Beerus ruined the all-universe hide and seek tournament did the other gods attack Beerus, just keeping a grudge for his actions during it. That was the first fight between gods of destruction for a good several hundred years, though it isn't every day that a god is killed and replaced. It also is the first time multiple angels have been given to one god. I have to say things will be interesting from here on, Kuss said with a smile, as Toppo smiled at the 2 angels, while Naruto nervously went over to Margarita. Hey Margarita, can we talk for a moment, alone? He asked, as she raised an eyebrow, but nodded before turning to the others. Please excuse us for a moment. While we are gone you may ask the Pride Troopers of Naruto's training, Margarita suggested before she followed Naruto into the house they had been staying in during their prolonged stay on the Kai's planet. What is it you wish to talk about? Margarita asked, as he frowned. You know what, Margarita, he said, scratching his cheek nervously before Margarita smiled softly at him and nodded with a giggle. Yes, but it is rather interesting to see you get shy. You want to know why I kiss you on the cheek, right? She asked, as he nodded, rubbing his arm a bit, as he blushed, which only made her giggle more. To be honest, Naruto, I don't know for sure, Margarita said, as with a sigh, we angels don't have emotions fully like other beings, or more so we shouldn't be able to grow to feel them. We are born to serve our gods of destruction, and nothing else, she added with a slight frown. When I saw those 2 waiting for you below, and the danger of being taken away from you, I was worried. I wanted to do something to urge you to win. I just am not sure why my body drove me to kiss you on the cheek like that. Please give me some time to figure things out before I answer, she said, looking down at the floor before she perked up, as she felt Naruto gently take her hand in his. It's okay, Margarita, you don't have to rush. This is new for you, so I don't want to make you uncomfortable, he said, smiling at her before she squeezed his hand softly. Thank you, Naruto, you are very kind. I am grateful to be your angel, she said, giving him a sincere smile that made him blush a bit before he nodded and coughed into his fist. We should get back to the others since they are patiently waiting outside, Margarita said before she let go of his hand and walked out of the house with him following behind, calming his blush from everything. After hearing things from the others, I have to say this chakra of yours interests me. Kai is the energy of the universe, and while you now possess access to Kai, it seems chakra is still inside you, Vados said, as she walked over to him. I want to learn more about this from you before Kus, and I train you, she added, as Kus nodded beside her. If we are to also be your angels, and train you, then we wish to know what we will be working with. I hope you look forward to our training as, like Margarita, it will be intense to fit this 6-year limit, Kus said while Naruto smiled with a nod. 1 year ago, nearly to the day, he was without any kind of serious teacher, and now not only was he a god of destruction, but also was surrounded by strong warriors like the Pride Troopers. But now he not only had one powerful angel to teach him, but had gained 2 more. I'm ready for anything you have in store for me. I'm determined to become stronger so I can protect those closest to me, Naruto said, getting a smirk from various people around. Good, then let us begin with chakra, Vados said, curious to see just how her new god would surprise her. Sakura wiped the sweat from her brow before she accepted a water bottle from Shizune to cool off after Tsunade's intense training session. Though she couldn't complain, as she personally asked for it to be this intense when she first begged the Sannin to take her as an apprentice. Ever since Naruto's disappearance a bit over a year ago, she has been training hard from the moment she heard about it. He wouldn't be so obsessed with getting stronger to the point of running off with God knows who if I didn't hold him to that stupid promise of getting Sasuke back, she thought, this being the most recurring thought that went through Sakura's head while she drove herself to get stronger. Sensei, have you heard anything from Jiraiya recently? Any news about Naruto? Sakura asked, as she had seen Jiraiya return to the village yesterday and was hoping for some good news. Sadly no, but if there is, you will be one of the first people I tell, Sakura. I promise, Tsunade said, understanding how Sakura felt. She was just thankful instead of moping around the girl was driven to become stronger, so she could help in whatever way possible. Always so worried about Naruto, does that mean you're finally returning the brat's feelings? I bet if he knew that he'd come running back, Tsunade teased her, and Shizune smirked while Sakura's face grew red. What? No. I just want to make sure the idiot is safe, and that he regrets making us worry. Sakura stuttered out with a rather dark blush, as Tsunade and Shizune chuckled softly. Well, good luck with that, but given either your feelings or your developments, Tsunade said, motioning towards Sakura's chest, which was now easily an E-cup, before covering her breasts with her arms. I feel the brat would come running back. She finished with a smirk. I never really knew that my full training would result in that in some people, but hey, I don't think you mind, and definitely don't think Naruto would, as well, she said with a chuckle, as Sakura grumbled and stopped her foot. Sheesh-sensei, sometimes you are as bad as Jiraiya, Sakura mumbled, making Tsunade roll her eyes, as she waved her away to show she was free to go, as she stared off into the distance. Wherever you are, I hope you are safe, Tsunade thought, as she, and many others, just wanted Naruto to come home safe and sound. Kai's planet. Vados hummed in thought, as she listened while Naruto finished his explanation of chakra and the shinobi arts. That explains why none of the other gods of destruction could discern which one was the real you or sense you within the cloud of smoke. Seems chakra isn't something they can sense at all, so the smoke entirely stopped them from sensing anything within it. Most peculiar, she said, as all of this definitely made Naruto unique among his fellow gods. But it seems they reacted to my cloak mode, and the Bijudama thought, he said before Kus nodded with a smile. If I had to guess, it was because your cloak amplified your energy so much that it made it able to be sensed by them, since it mixed with your Kai. As for the Bijudama, they reacted to it because it gave off an energy similar to destruction energy, and radiated a strong power of its own, Kus explained, while Vados nodded in agreement. Chakra is quite versatile, is there anything else you can do with it? Vados asked, as she knew he could make clones and control elements with it, but was curious of what else it could do. Well, I can summon toads since I signed the contract for them, although I'm not sure if I can do it all the way out here, since it's more used to summon on the planet. Plus, I've never really had the need to summon the toads, since they could tell Jiraiya where I am, and everything, Naruto said with a grumble, not particularly wanting Jiraiya to learn where he was, while Margarita smiled. Well, we can always return back to your planet, somewhere where no one is near, to ensure you aren't noticed, and before they do anything, teleport away, Margarita suggested, as Vados shook her head. Actually, I think this is best, and in fact you might be able to if you enhance your chakra with your Kai. You did it momentarily during the fight against Champa and Russia, so why not try and see if you can replicate it, Vados said, as Naruto frowned but, after a nod from Margarita, shrugged his shoulders and decided to try. He took a few deep breaths, raising his Kai, as he did the same with his chakra. Mixing them was a bit tricky given how, unlike his Kai, his chakra had a set pathway which made him have to slip the Kai into, so that they could mix. For his training he had figured out how to, and was able to if he had some time to focus, but even with focus it was difficult to do. Once certain the two energies were mixed, he quickly ran through the hand seals before biting his thumb, and swiping the blood across his palm. Summoning, he yelled, pouring extra chakra into it before a cloud of smoke surrounded him. What? Where am I? A familiar voice asked, as Naruto blew away the smoke to see Gamakichi sitting in front of them, much larger than the last memory. Well, you grew, buddy, like a lot, Naruto said, as the orange toad looked at him with widened eyes before grabbing him. Naruto, everyone has been worried sick about you. Where have you been? Gamakichi asked, as he shook Naruto a bit before he looked around, and his eyes widened a bit more, and set him down after he took it all in. Okay, definitely not in Fire Country anymore, he said before Vados stepped forward to inspect him. A sentient animal that hasn't evolved to gain, for the sake of this analogy, a human-like form like most in the universe do in one way or another. How interesting, Vados said, making Gamakichi look at her weird. Hey boss, who's the pretty lady? Is she yours? What happened to you wanting to be with the pink-haired girl? Gamakichi asked, making Naruto blush, and Vados, as well as the others, giggled. I am Vados, one of Naruto's 3 attendants, as an angel, she said, as she motioned towards Kus, and Margarita, who smiled at Gamakichi, as well. It is a pleasure to meet you, she added, as Gamakichi nodded before turning to Naruto, and shook his head. Pretty women aside, you really need to come back. Jiraiya is looking everywhere for you, and Tsunade, and that pink-haired girl you like are worried, as well. She especially blames herself for you disappearing, he said, making Naruto frown, clenching his fist before he shook his head with a determined look in his eyes. No? I only summoned you to see if I could from where I am, and because you all can't reverse summon me from here. Jiraiya constantly ditched me for 2 of the 3 years I was supposed to be training with him for. He barely even taught me anything, so when I got the chance to be taught by strong people like I have around me here, I'm not about to go back home until I'm done with the 6 years I set for myself, Naruto said, as Gamakichi frowned, but, as he looked around he noticed not only the angels, but the pride troopers who had come to see what was going on, but stayed silent. Whoa, get yourself a lot of people. Gamakichi said before he hummed in thought. Fine. But summon the elders, and tell them, they're the boss too, even my pops. Hell, they might decide to help you out with training to teach you Sage Mode, after hearing how Jiraiya messed up, he added, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. How do I summon them? Naruto asked, curious of this Sage Mode, if the bosses of Gamabunta knew it, and could teach it to him. Pour even more chakra into the summoning technique than for my pops, don't worry, they aren't massive like him, so you'll be safe. I'll tell them to expect you, Gamakichi said, as he dispelled, causing Naruto to look to his angels after he sighed a bit. Well, should I summon them? Naruto asked, unsure of what to do given he only attempted to summon Vados to show the toads, and to test if he could. I think it would be wise, as it would also ease the worries of your friends back home, if they have word from you, Toppo said, putting his 2 cents in, as Margarita nodded with a smile. If this Sage Mode helps, then I see no harm in you taking time to learn it, depending on how long it would be, Margarita said, as Naruto nodded, as he was interested in this Sage Mode, as well. Well, here goes nothing, though you might want to stand back in case I don't put enough, and summon a toad the size of a mountain, Naruto said, as the 3 angels nodded, and floated over to the pride troopers before erecting a barrier around them all. Don't worry, I'll be helping, as well, Kurama said, as Naruto nodded, and once again focused his Kai, choosing to put in his godly Kai this time before once again going through the hand seals, and slamming his hand on the ground again. The smoke from it was much smaller than with Gamakichi, so Naruto immediately knew something was up by that fact. Once the smoke dispersed he was a bit surprised, as the 2 toads weren't anything like he expected. They were both small, the first green with white bushy eyebrows, a bit of hair in the back spiked up, and a goatee on his chin, while the second was purple, and lumpier with them both wearing black cloaks. Ha, where are we? The purple one asked, as the green one looked up at Naruto with a frown. It's okay, Ma, the green one said, gently patting her shoulder before they both looked at him. Are you Naruto? He asked, as Naruto nodded. Yeah, and I think we have a lot to talk about, I guess. How about we go inside, and I make some tea, Naruto said before the 2 toads nodded, and he looked over to Toppo, and the other pride troopers that were nearby. Don't worry, take your time. We are going to go off, and join the others on patrol, Toppo said before Kai nodded, and walked over to them to transport them away safely. So where exactly are we? This doesn't look or feel like the elemental nations, and those outside don't look human, the green one said once they followed Naruto inside, sitting down in 2 open chairs, as Kus smiled, as she set down the cups of tea for them all. You are on the planet of the Kai, which is several light years away from your planet, Kus explained, making the purple one widen its eyes before Margarita nodded. And it is where Naruto has been doing his training for his new job, as God of Destruction for Universe 11, she said, making both of the toads look at her confused before Naruto sighed. How about I explain it from the start, Naruto said with a sigh, as they were just as confused as he was when he first was thrown into all of this. As he explained it all, from him storming off into a forest event to killing Belmont, and everything that followed, the two roads seemed to become more understanding, with the green one, Fukasaku, being upset at Jiraiya, while the purple one, Shima, was upset that he had been ditched like that. Jiraiya boy will get a good beating from me when I get back, as he didn't tell us how he neglected your training, Fukasaku said with a slight glare before sighing, and turning back towards them. But I do say this is all way too much to believe, and yet, seeing everything, I can't do anything. But believe your words, Fukasaku said, as he took a sip of his tea before setting it back down. I'm glad you are growing out here, but did you really have to? Shima asked with a frown. You have everyone in Konoha worried, she said while Naruto sighed. I didn't mean to, my letter was meant to make them not worry about me. Please can I have you to assure them I'm fine and safe, while also keeping all of this hidden? I kind of wanted to be a surprise for them, he asked, as the two toads looked at each other before nodding with a sigh. Yes, we will not worry, Fukasaku said while stroking his beard. Though Gamakichi told us you were interested in Sage Mode, do you want to learn it? I can feel you are strong, so you might very well be able to handle learning it rather quickly, the Toad Sage said, as Naruto frowned a bit. What exactly is Sage Mode? Naruto asked, as well it sounded interesting he didn't know anything about it. It's a technique that allows one to gain strength by balancing natural energy drawn in with one's chakra to tap into the natural forces of the world. It enhances one's strength, speed, reflexes, and power of their moves. It is a difficult to master technique that very few have mastered, not even Jiraiya is a full master of it, Fukasaku said, as that piqued Naruto's interest. Personally I want to learn anything I can to help make myself stronger. I have a whole universe to look after, so please, if you think it can help then teach it to me, so I can get strong enough to protect it, Naruto said, as he looked the two toads in their eyes before Fukasaku started to chuckle. We can start right now if you want, you'd have to come back to Mount Maiboku though for it, Fukasaku said, as Naruto frowned, as Vados cleared her throat. There's no need to rush, Naruto, you have your appointment with Heels, as well as both Kus, and I need to get a grasp of your power, before you decide to run off elsewhere, the taller angel said with a smile, as she looked at the two toads. When there is time we will bring Naruto back to learn that technique, if that is okay, Vados said, as Fukasaku nodded. That is fine, we do need to deliver your message, and wait for things to calm down, as Jiraiya and others will undoubtedly hound us once we reveal we met with you, he said before he hopped down from his seat. For now focus on your other training. I still can't believe you wound up in this situation, Shima said with a chuckle while Fukasaku nodded. When you want to train just summon us, and we'll tell you if the coast is clear or not for you to return. It was nice meeting you, Naruto, as well as you three, Fukasaku said, looking at the three angels, as Naruto nodded. Oh wait. Before you go, can you maybe deliver a message to Sakura for me? Jiraiya and Tsunade will know who she is, so you'll know who to deliver it to. I really want to make sure she doesn't worry too much. Just give me a second to write it out. Naruto asked the elders, looking to Margarita who summoned a pen, paper, and envelope for him to use before Fukasaku nodded with a smirk, as he waited for Naruto to finish, and the teen handed him the finished letter. Of course Naruto, I'll pass your letter on to your girl, Fukasaku said with a wink and a chuckle before he and Shima disappeared, and Naruto found himself able to let out a long sigh of relief the second they were gone. That went better than I expected. Thought for a second they'd try to drag me back or something, and that would have just been a big headache. I do hope they will be able to get people to stop worrying too much, Naruto said with a chuckle while Margarita nodded, and Vados stepped forward with Kus beside her. Well Naruto, shall we gauge your skill? Vados asked with a smile. We'll be sticking to just regular hand-to-hand fighting, and Kai. Chakra's influence will be gauged later, as Kus added, as Naruto nodded, and stood up. I'm ready, I'm excited to have two new teachers like you both, so let's get started right away, Naruto said, as he followed them outside with a smile. So will this be a one-on-one so you can get a feel of me one at a time or what? He asked, as the two angels looked at each other before turning back to him, and smiling at him. No, you will have to fight us both, as best as you can with no chakra, Vados said before she summoned her staff to her hand. And remember, like Margarita, we are stronger than we look, so do not hold back, Kus said, as she too called her staff to her hand, both her and Vados smiling all too sweetly at him, before he quickly leapt back to avoid a twin thrust from the two angels' staffs. Damn, you can barely handle one angel, but now you have to handle two at the same time. I'll help as much as I can to tell you where to guard, but it all depends on if you can react fast enough, Kurama said, as Naruto nodded while he skidded back to slow himself down. Nice reflexes, but don't be only dodging, Kus said before Naruto's hands started to glow blue, as he weaved through various strikes from the angels. Don't worry, I won't, Naruto said, as he quickly ducked under another staff strike, and held out his hand towards Vados, and fired a widespread blast of Kai from his open hand. Behind you. Kurama warned before Naruto pointed his hand behind him and fired another widespread blast, which was enough to get the angels to back off to give him a second to breathe, before he blasted downwards to create a dust cloud around him. Thank you, Kurama, Naruto thought, as he quickly coated his hands in Kai, slapping away a few green blasts sent through the dust. He started to struggle with the increase of speed of the blasts, and the fact they were now coming from all around. He continued to deflect them, as best as he could, the countless ones he couldn't deflect hitting him with a hard sting. Stop blocking and attacking, kids. We are sitting ducks like this, Kurama said, as Naruto nodded, and flew in one direction out of the dust cloud, only to be face to face with Vados, who was seemingly waiting for him. He barely had enough time to block a palm thrust from her before he ducked under another strike, and pointed his hand towards her. Vados raised an eyebrow, as she saw the familiar spiraling orb of energy, only instead of chakra she could feel it was made of Kai. Oh? Seems like you have learned to copy your Rasengan with Kai, but it is unwise to rely heavily on something like that, she said, as he smirked, as the ball of Kai glowed. It's different from normal Rasengan, as I can fire it, he said, as it fired from his palm, as he leapt back to get some distance. Though it didn't connect with Vados, as she was able to rather elegantly dodge it before it exploded behind her, letting her and Kus see how upon hitting something it had grown into a dome blast of swirling energy. I'm impressed. Kai control like that is rare and difficult to achieve, Vados said, as she smiled at him. Though I guess chakra prepared you for it. Let's see how many of those you can form before you get overwhelmed, Vados added before she looked to Kus and nodded, both of them raising their staffs before countless green orbs of Kai appeared above them in the sky. Naruto paled a bit before the two angels swung down their staffs, sending the orbs raining down on him. He knew dodging would be near impossible due to the sheer number of all the attacks, since if he tried he'd easily become overwhelmed, so he settled on blasting away any that came down at him. His brows were furrowed, as he worked to fire Rasengan Kai blast after Kai blast at the orbs that threatened to crash down on him. Thankfully, the expanding explosion on collision effect of his blasts was turning out to be great at taking out multiple of Vados and Kus's blasts with only one of his needs. Though, as the blasts continued to rain down, the number being nigh infinite to him from the lack of shrinking of the number left in the sky, he found them growing closer and closer to him before he was able to blast them. The shrinking amount of time he had to form his Rasengan-style Kai blasts wasn't good, and before long he was forced to just fire regularly to avoid being directly hit. Even those weren't enough, as without the amount of blasts his Rasengan blasts took out, he quickly found himself overwhelmed and was forced to fly backwards to avoid the endless onslaught. Well done, you were able to hold off against that much longer than expected, Kus said, as she appeared behind him, aiming a kick at his head that he brought his arms up to block barely in time before he was sent flying to the side. I have to say, if you learn to form those like second nature without any real time needed, then they will come in handy a lot, Vados said, while she watched Naruto pull himself out from the trench that Kus's kick had caused him to form when he crashed into the ground. Thanks, I'm working on that, Naruto said before he watched them raise their staff up into the air again. Only instead of countless orbs of Kai, a singular, utterly massive one started to form above them. That is good, but we now wish to test your power, Vados said, as she pointed up at the orb and moved her finger down towards him, causing the massive orb to start descending towards him. Use whatever attack you have to try, and push that back. Your goal is to make it falter, or else we will not stop it, and it will hurt, Kus added, as she did the same, making the orb descend a bit faster, all with a sweet smile on her face. That doesn't look or feel good, so put everything into this, Kurama said, getting Naruto to nod, as he put the base of his hands together, his hands forming a C, while a large ball of Kai started to form in it. Got it. Let's see how the move I've been working on fares against it, Naruto thought, as the orb started to spin and whirl around in Naruto's hand while it started to shrink and condense. The angels watched, curious to see what Naruto had planned, as the amount of Kai he was condensing into the orb grew and grew until it couldn't be condensed any longer, and started to grow to be a bit bigger than a normal Rasengan, but smaller than an Adama Rasengan. I'll show you everything I have, Naruto yelled, as he pointed the orb in his hand up at the orb that was descending on him. Rasenha, Naruto yelled, as he continued to charge it up before he fired. The resulting beam that shot out of his hands did so with enough force to cause a strong burst of air and the ground under him to crack, while it quickly collided with the orb in the sky. Vados and Kus watched as the beam slowed down their orb until it was at a standstill, but could see Naruto was struggling with pushing it back. They thought they were quick to notice the entire beam was starting to spin like a drill, as Naruto furrowed his brow. I call this technique the Rasenha, not only because I formed like a Rasengan, Naruto said, struggling, as he focuses while the beam starts to spin faster bit by bit. I call it that because it spins, drills, and pierces the same way a Rasengan does. He yelled, giving one last push, the beam spinning faster for a second, which was just what he needed. The three angels watched as the orb exploded, having been pierced by Naruto's, as his beam was seen exploding out the back before it died down, and Naruto fell down to a knee. So, how'd I do? Naruto asked, panting a bit, but smiling nonetheless, as he looked at them. You exceeded our expectations, Kus said with a smile, while Vados nodded with a smile, as well. Though that means we expect a lot when training you, and we'll train you hard to ensure you meet our new expectations. Are you ready for that? Vados asked before Naruto stood up, and looked her in the eyes with a nod. Bring it, and I want to get stronger, so I'll take whatever training you have, no matter how tough it is, Naruto said, making Vados laugh a bit before she turned to Margarita. I swear you got yourself an interesting god this time, sister. This will be very interesting to see how things go with him, don't you think, Kus? She asked, as Kus nodded. This will be fun, Kus exclaimed with a smile, and a slight twirl, while Margarita smiled at the praise towards her god, also interested to see how he would grow in time. Shortly after the elders left. So you are telling us Naruto summoned you guys, and you didn't drag him back with you, Jiraiya yelled in annoyance before Fukasaku leapt up, and smacked him hard with his cane, sending the Sannin down to the ground. Yeah, because he actually has competent teachers by his side, unlike a certain someone who ran off with ladies when they should have been training him. Fukasaku yelled, him, and Shima glaring down at Jiraiya who had the decency to stay on the ground. Jiraiya's incompetency aside, did you say teachers, as in more than one? Tsunade asked, picking up on the Toad Elder's choice of words. Yes, from what I see he has 3 main teachers around him, and they are all some real powerful women. He has another group of strong warriors around him, all who are dead set on making him strong, Shima told them, smiling, as she was happy to see Naruto having people so determined to train him considering from what she had heard Naruto has had a bad history with getting lazy teachers. Tsunade felt happy at those words, but still upset that he had felt the need to run off to get stronger despite his promise to return, which she fully believed, as Naruto was never the kind to break a promise. So can you tell us anything about where he is? Just so we can have a bit of worry taken from us. She asked, the look the Toad's sharing not quite easing her worry. It's tricky to explain, but I guess the most we can say is that he definitely isn't in the elemental nations, Fukasaku said, rubbing the back of his head with a frown before he perked up. Oh yeah, which one of you is Sakura? He asked, getting Sakura to perk up a bit, not expecting to be talked to during this important meeting regarding Naruto. That's me, Elder Sakura said, raising her hand, as the green toad turned her way with a smile. So you are his girlfriend? Fukasaku said with a smirk, as he rubbed his beard, making Tsunade smirk at her student, while Sakura blushed before the Toad Elder pulled out a letter. Here, the boy wrote this for you. He was awfully upset that you were worrying so much, so he wrote this to you, he added, making Tsunade start to snicker, as her blush grew even darker, and she struggled not to crush the letter, due to the embarrassment he was causing her, despite him having no idea that it would happen like this. Thank you, Elder, it really means a lot, she said, taking the letter, as she looked it over. Don't worry, we aren't going to bug you about what it says, go read it in private, you can use my studied, Tsunade said, smiling to her apprentice, as Sakura nodded, and hurried off to read the letter behind closed doors. You idiot, you better have a good explanation for me, Sakura thought, as she grumbled a bit, and opened the letter. Dear Sakura, I'm really sorry for making you worry so much, as honestly that was not what I intended to do. I sent the last letter to Tsunade in hopes it wouldn't make people worry. I set out on this training journey to grow stronger with the goal of fulfilling my promise to you, but over time I guess it's become more than that, and changed to where I want to grow stronger to keep everyone I care about safe. I wouldn't go too much into detail, as it isn't something I can explain over a letter, but I've gotten to a state where I need to be strong, so I am able to protect everyone in my home. I will be home in 5 years, I promise you that, and when I return I'll show you how I've grown, and become a better man. Love, Naruto, she read, as she could only shake her head at him. I swear that idiot, even when he thinks of himself, he is still thinking about others about me, she thought, as shook her head. No, I can't let him be the only one to grow stronger, I'm going to, as well, and show him he's an idiot for feeling he had to go this far. And I'll hit him extra hard, as well, she added, chuckling, as she cracked her knuckles, as well this letter had eased her worries a bit, it also drove her on to commit even more to her own training. Just you wait, Naruto, 5 years from now I won't be a useless teammate anymore, she declared to herself with a smile, hoping that Naruto when he gets back, would be impressed with her growth. 5 years later. Naruto was a mixture of nervous and excited, as he and his angels got everything ready for him to finally return to Konoha. His training had been intense, and nearly without any breaks other than his travels to other universes, and even then he still fought and trained with those universes' gods and their inhabitants. He easily felt he had grown so much in ways besides just strength. He has seen so many planets, races, and sights along the way, and learned more than he ever would have if he didn't become a god of destruction. Now at 20 years old he stood at a few inches over 6 feet tall, and more muscular, but still being lean, and not crazy muscular like he had seen some people be across his travels with slightly longer hair than when he had started out. Throughout the years he had kept up to date on some things from back home through the Toads. It was through them that he had thankfully learned some news on Sasuke over the years. The news was half good and half bad. The toads told him that Jiraiya had gotten intel about Sasuke in regards to him escaping from Orochimaru, and even leaving the Sannin at near death, according to the state of the base the battle took place in. Since then Orochimaru had gone into an even deeper level of his usual hiding. It was good that Sasuke escaped before Orochimaru swapped bodies with him after the 3-year limit had gone up. The bad part was that Sasuke had apparently formed a group that he was traveling with, so who knew what he'd do now that he was traveling on his own. He even heard a rumor that Sasuke had joined the Akatsuki, the very group that was gunning to capture him, and the others. It had somewhat surprised him given Itachi, the man Sasuke wanted to kill above all else, was also a part of that team. Personally, he was even more surprised that Sasuke hadn't gone after Itachi yet, but in the end, he didn't really have much of an opinion on it either way in the end. Overall, the fact that Sasuke hadn't been taken over by Orochimaru meant his gamble had somewhat paid off, despite the end results of the path Sasuke was going down. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel.